I uploaded a bunch of videos yesterday, right? So this is gonna sound weird, but my goal as a Buddhist content creator is to avoid explosive growth. But at the same time, I do like growth, right? So I make simply answered videos, so I can practice my skill of providing value. There's a lot of things in my brain, but if they're not realistically helpful to you, then I'm not being helpful. So, simply answered is a way for me to practice getting in touch with realistic problems while organically, slowly growing my channel instead of trying to go for an explosive boost of the algorithm. Now, channel's been doing really great, but also I need to do my part to prevent explosive growth. So that's why I posted a bunch of videos yesterday that usually does a good job in shaking a lot of people off who aren't gonna be into me anyway. And today I have a bit of a long video again just to control the rate of growth of my channel. And now today I want to talk about a Korean Buddhist concept. It is a Buddhist concept, but the Korean term for it is called Mujusangboshi, and it in English it just means giving while unattached to reward. And this is a very, very important concept that is reiterated multiple times in one of the most important texts in Buddhism called the Diamond Sutra. Now, why is this so important? Why is giving without expectations so important? When you look at the history of mankind, the exchange of values became a thing because people were tired of killing each other for value, right? And so, okay, I'm just gonna steal from you, I'm just gonna take. Well, don't take my stuff. Well, you and what army is gonna stop me? Well, this army. Well, I have an army too. Boom, 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 boom. And then that became very unsustainable for everyone. So now we have this trade system. Okay, you know what? I'll give you some of this for some of yours. And then, as more and more things got introduced into the mix, like it became abstract. How do I compare my horses with your orange? And to come up, this is a greatly oversimplified and somewhat uneducated history of money, but that's where money came in, right? It's an abstract form of like value so that you can exchange it so that you don't have to directly compare apples to oranges. And now, with that came with a lot of like money kind of things, right? And money related social problems. But what's important is that people always expect something out of the other, right? Even if it's not the exchange of material, it also applies to emotion because we look at the world by learning it from the external, and then we think that the external model also applies internally. And that's not necessarily the case because what's inside is infinite and doesn't abide by anything in the physical world. But anyway, we like to look at the external world and try to model our internal world accordingly. Therefore, when I treat my dog really well, it's expected for me to have some kind of expectation for the dog, right? That he won't bite me, that he will cuddle with me when I want him to. But the dog has a mind of his own. He can do whatever he wants. But while I know that, if I start forming expectations around my dog, then what happens? When I start forming expectations, one or two things happen. It either gets satisfied and I feel good, or I feel neutral, and it doesn't get satisfied and I get very disappointed. When I go hike, I feel wonderful. I look at nature and I love nature. I love nature, but that doesn't really do anything for nature. Nature doesn't really have this like that have reaction like, "Whoa, man! Oh, thanks. I feel the love, and I love you right back." Nature doesn't do that. If I go to Hawaii, my favorite place, and I'm like, "This is so beautiful," and I shed a single tear, The beach doesn't shed a single tear and be like, Billy, the beauty is within you. It doesn't do anything like romantic like that, right? I love nature, but I have no expectations for it. I just love it. And that is a wonderful feeling because you can just give and you're free from expecting. And it's a absolutely wonderful feeling of giving and it has zero downside because you don't expect anything back. But we like to form attachments to expectations. And this expectation is what is called in Buddhism image. We like to we like to form an image of something and then expect things out of that image. My wife is a human being. She can do whatever she wants. She's a human with free will. But because of the fact that she got married to me, I start forming an image and I expect that she has to follow everything that I say because I'm the man of the house. But when I tell her to do things that she doesn't want to, inevitably she's gonna exercise her free will. I'm gonna be like, no, man, I'm not gonna do that. Now, when I treat my wife well and I love her, I start forming this implicit expectation to this image of my wife. But really, my wife is just another human being, just like me. And if you look at my earlier videos on love, what is my definition of love? It's just looking at the other person and taking them all as they are without them needing to change anything. But even with that, I can acknowledge that she is her own thing, but she should still listen to me. That's my obsession to the image. And if I do goodwill based on this expectation, that's not really goodwill, that's just a transaction. And so, why is it easy for some things to be unattached? Why is it not easy for some other things? Well, this is purely my opinion, but I believe that when we have things that we don't feel superfluously overabundant about, we like to attach an image to that thing and think it's limited. Suppose your friend just ran a marathon and wants to decompress at your house. And your friend wants a lot of water. You have lots of water. You know you can give your friend a lot of water. Suppose your friend now got really really sick and your friend wants you to be their primary caretaker for the rest of their life. Now this you might feel a little uncomfortable about because why? You don't believe in the abundance of your time. You know that your time will be significantly reduced by the primary caretaking. So, it's my opinion that Mujusangboshi or non-reward expecting giving is easy only for things that we feel absolutely abundant about. So now that gives us a quest to contemplate. What are the things that we feel scarce about? Because that is also an image. And this applies to literally everything, which is why the Diamond Sutra is one of the most important texts in Buddhism. I want to conclude by this concept of Mujusangboshi to yourself. When we invest in ourselves, we like to get an ROI. We practice reward expecting love and giving to ourselves. And I think that is a root of many reasons for disappointment in yourself. And I think that's the root of many reasons to hate yourself. I gave you all of this. I gave myself all of that. And none of those opportunities summed to a fruition of anything. But the thing is, why should you? You don't owe anyone anything. That means you don't owe yourself anything. So if you are trying to be a more loving individual, perhaps you can start with the act of giving without expectations to yourself. This was a very deeply conceptual Buddhist video, but I actually really like making these videos because they are the most thought-provoking and insightful for me. And I'm hoping this controls the growth rate of the channel to a level I'm comfortable with. If you are sticking around and watching the video, thank you so much. Your support means a lot, and I will see you in the next video.